What's up, guys? Max here with another episode of the ScuttleButt Show, and today I am very excited. We're joined by the founders of the VIB Network, Rebecca Aguilera-Gardner and Cole Woodman. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Hey, it's great to have you here. We were connected by Jackson from Black Box Safety. He said, you got to go check out the VIB Network. They are awesome. And the founders and the board members are amazing. And I would love to connect you with them. So I reached out via Jackson to Rebecca, and then I signed up for the website. And now here we are on Zoom doing our podcast episode. And I'm really excited.
That's how it all works, that networking.
That's what networking is, right? That's the definition of networking. And on the show, I talk all the time about how important networking is, and all the great big business guests we've had always talk about how, you know, you can send in 1,000 resumes, but the job that you want is going to come from meeting the right person. And a lot of times the job you want's not even posted. The job you want's probably going to get created for you because you met the right person, and you know you can convince them that you're needed in their organization. And you know, networking is just a beautiful thing. It's a big part of what we do on the show here, and it's obviously a big part of what you guys are doing. It's in the name. So, whoever wants to take the lead, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll switch, and then we'll talk about what VIB is.
Cool.
Rebecca, why don't you go ahead and start?
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Rebecca Aguilera-Gardner, and one of the founders of Veterans in Business. I've been in the veteran business community space for probably a good 17, 18 years. I have a family business that I run with my brother, who is a service-disabled veteran, Diego and Son Printing, and it's been around for about 48 years. So I grew up in business as well. And so probably about 18 years ago, I got involved with the organization, found out about the service disabled certification and how that it could help, you know, our business grow, and got really involved, and actually it did help our business grow. We've gotten large corporate clients because of our service disabled certification. And then about 4 years ago, Cole and I, about 6 years ago, Cole and I met. And then about 4 years ago, we decided to take this leap to start the VIB Network, which is a streamlined organization to connect people and offer all of these service to service disabled veterans and veterans for free.
That's awesome. Cole?
Cole Woodman. I own Global Engineering Services. I know it sounds like an engineering company, but we actually do construction. Shameless plug right there for GES in my hard hat.
Perfect.
But no, I was in the Navy. I got out literally the last day of 2011, December 31st. And my last tour, I was on shore duty with the Navy in San Diego. So life was really good. That's how they get you to go back to sea, right? They send you to shore duty for a couple years and you forget a little bit. So started up my company, knew that I kind of wanted to be my own boss, you know, had that dream of, hey, I'm going to own my own business. And small business ownership, entrepreneurship, it's a tough road. And so started doing one thing. We were doing engineering, had to pivot into the construction side. Now we do strictly federal contracting, construction, design, build, project management, things along those lines. But as I was going down that road as a small business owner, there was that initial stage, which was just survival. I mean, it was literally treading water, and you don't know what you don't know. And then you start winning a few of those contracts, and you slowly start to move from surviving and treading water into, all right, I think I'm swimming. I'm not drowning, and I'm moving in a direction, so I must be swimming as opposed to treading water. And so then you move from the you don't know what you don't know to you just don't know, but at least you can identify some things. And so that's when I started looking into what type of organizations were out there to help veteran business owners, and what type of opportunities were out there, both in the government sector, the commercial sector, states and local governments. And so slowly over time, Rebecca kind of touched on it. We met up via another organization that was established for veteran businesses. And then slowly over time, we decided to, both business owners, but we thought there might be a better way where we can bring services and support to other veteran business owners through this nonprofit. And so that's kind of how we ended up with VIB.
And so let's get started with what VIB is essentially. Is it well, I know the answer to this, but is it a place? Is it an online community? Is it an app?
I'm going to go with the philosophical, it's a mindset. So we started out, talking about the importance of networking. That's how, this whole conversation happened. But literally it kind of is an online, we don't have a brick and mortar office. Most business owners these days don't have the time to go somewhere. They just want to be able to access information to help their business succeed. And so we try to be that resource. Literally in our mission statement, we try to provide the resources, the education, whatever it is that a veteran business owner needs. We try to provide that so that they can get from that treading water stage into the swimming stage of being a business owner. And so literally, if they come to us and say, we need help getting certified, well, we probably know a resource that can help them with that. If they say, we're trying to do business with this particular corporation, we probably have a point of contact at that corporation that can help them. Or we might know somebody that might know that. And so literally it's kind of a mindset of we try to be the one-stop shop for veteran business owners. We don't help businesses start up. You have to be an existing business. We try and focus on what we think we're good at. We don't try and go outside the lifelines too much, but if somebody needs something and we know a resource that can help them with those things, we don't do VA benefits. That's not what we do. There's other organizations that are way better who have been around for, decades and decades that are really good at that stuff. We don't touch it. We will recommend you go to them, but we focus strictly on the business and networking side to help that veteran business owner continue day to day, pay those bills, win those contracts, and find those opportunities.
Rebecca, you come from a long background of business. Cole, you were in the Navy for the beginning of your adult career life. So my question is, Cole, I want to hear your perspective on this, and then Rebecca, your perspective on this. For me, and I think I've talked to other veteran small businesses about this. When you're kind of the business owner, when you're a business founder, accepting money or having some success can be really scary when it starts to happen in the beginning, because that there's so much red tape and logistics that goes around being a business owner that you have to figure out. And if you're swimming in getting business, you might be drowning in taxes and business administration and getting your LLC and your paperwork and being registered and certified and in accordance with all the standards. Like if you're, I just met a veteran business owner who's making soap. So are you within the guidance of making soap that's safe to sell and not, carcinogenic or something? What was it like, Cole, when you first started to have success with your small business? What was like the struggle of what was scary about having success with your small business?
No, there's definitely, when you win that first contract, there's definitely a feeling of be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And so, there's a lot of struggle that goes into winning that first contract or meeting that first client, getting that first order. And then once you get it, the stress of, am I doing this right? Why did I win all of a sudden? Did I forget something in my pricing? Did I screw something up? And so there's definitely a fear. But I believe especially veterans are uniquely trained / it's kind of embedded into you to just take on that stress. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? That's kind of, that mentality is drilled into you from the day you check into boot camp. It's like, all right, focus on the task at hand and just one step at a time, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many times I did checklists in the Navy just to make sure that I didn't forget anything. And so you start running through the processes, you take a step back and you say, all right, now that I've won, what are those unknown unknowns that are going to potentially bite me, such as taxes? Did I forget that? Is that why my price was so good? And that's why I won this, is because I forgot that I'm going to have to pay taxes at the end. Things like that. There's definitely some fear. And one thing, so we provide one of the programs we started 2-3 years ago was a veteran to veteran cohort, where we have a facilitator. We bring in veteran business owners from a bunch of different backgrounds. So like I was in our first cohort just as kind of the tester. I'm in construction. We have another company that does security, provide literal security guards. We have IT companies. We even had a business that makes jewelry in New York. And the one underlying theme, even though we were all in different industries, the stresses and common fears are there in every business, regardless of what type of industry you're in. Everyone has that same stress, that same fear. I mean, I think I listened to your podcast with Jackson, and he said one of his biggest fears was hiring that first employee. And once he actually did it, he wishes he would have done it sooner, but ultimately that was a big fear for him. It's the same regardless of what business you're in. And so I think one of the things we try to do is to talk to veteran business owners and let them know, hey, that feeling you're feeling of uncertainty, of fear, of stress, it's universal. You have to work through it. That it's one of the barriers to entry for being a business owner, right? If you can't overcome that fear of the unknown, if you can't take that first big leap, then you probably don't need to be in business anyways. It's time to pack it up, because, every day there's going to be a new obstacle. Every day you're going to run into uncertainty, and you just have to learn to take it a step at a time and move past it. And so that was kind of a long-winded.
No, and I was just going to add to that. So for us, as growing up in business, we've lived with stress every day. I remember my parents, when they started the business, it was very stressful. And then when my brother and I, started owning the business 100%, it was right in 2007. So 2008, you have this great recession. We're like, thank you, this is great. So, we have to, you had to completely, change your mindset. Okay, how are we changing? How are we going to survive? Especially with what's going on now, you have to think, I know, and I hate this word, but you have to think outside the box. What other things can you do? How else can you streamline your approach? How can you make yourself lean as well? Lean is what's going to help us, the Diego and Son, survive out of COVID, because from the recession, we cut a lot of the staff. We, cross-trained a lot of our employees. So we think we're of course, we're not out of it. We have no idea what it's going to be like, but at least we feel that we've been lean for a couple of years, because we're so panicked after the recession that you're like, I don't know if we're going to hire that other employee. I don't know, we know that there's going to be another recession. What's it going to look like? So I think part of the VIB is actually sharing all of these things too. Just the other day, I had a guy who does construction, but bulldozering stuff. And so I got in him contacted with another guy who does the same thing. So they can talk about, what are you doing? How are you experienced? One was brand new. The other guy has been in business for 10 years. So that's one of the things that we like to do at the VIB, is get people connected and share, their experiences with each other.
So the VIB, I really like that, because it's like when I'm doing, so I do a filmmaking side business, and if I meet another veteran filmmaker, it's not like I'm meeting somebody who's competition. I'm meeting somebody who's potentially a partner, like if I can boost them up and give them some success, they could then, pay it forward and either return the favor to me or give it to somebody else. But when you meet people who are in a similar business or both veteran business owners, you can link up and you have that veteran connection right away. So you basically can already talk to each other in the same language. And then you understand how you can build each other up as a team instead of you're not stepping on each other. You're propping somebody up so that they can pull you up. I think that's more of the attitude with veteran businesses, which is why it's so great to work amongst them. So you two met at another mutual organization. What was the need that you thought you had to meet that caused you to create VIB?
I'll jump in a little bit, and we kind of touched on this before, but veterans are kind of that alpha personality. They kind of can get stuck in their ways. Where a lot of veterans have that ability to pivot or to adjust or to be nimble, but occasionally people can get stuck in their ways. And so the organization we were a part of, surprisingly, the statistics show that the most amount of veteran business owners are actually Vietnam era veterans. And so that was kind of the organization we were a part of, had a lot of the older generation, we'll call it, the people who came before us in terms of their service. And so there was a little bit of pushback to kind of step things into the next generation, things like social media, things, doing live broadcasts. This will end up on YouTube and, podcast type things. So it's taking it to meet the needs of the new generation of veterans, right? I mean, where we get information from things like Facebook and Instagram and all of that type of stuff. And then just the digital need and the ease at which we can network nowadays. We don't have to go meet at the VFW to have a beer anymore. I can shoot you a text and be like, yo, homie, what's up? You know what I mean? And so we're trying to embrace a few more of those, modern and next generation type, things like apps on your phone to try and get the word out, because that's where the modern veteran business owner is moving. And honestly, that's where a lot of the corporations that try and do a lot of these veteran-owned business programs, they're also moving in that direction. And so we want to capitalize on that and make sure we maintain those opportunities for the veteran business owners that are the next generation of veterans.
And then I'll just say one of the things that that would frustrate us is that there was a lot of people who were charging for services that were for free that they could find. But people just didn't know what PTAC was or VVOC or any of those type of organizations, because unless you're in that a mindset, you don't know what these kind of organizations can do. So veteran in business, utilizing that as a resource, we can say, here, you don't know about PTAC, let me tell you about it. It's a free service. They can help you with their certification. You can get a counselor. They have amazing things that they can do for you. So we were kind of a little bit frustrated about what was out there, and people were, nickel and diming the veteran business owners for these free services. So we were like, we need to put, if we can, we need to put a stop to that, or at least educate people that, don't use your own money when you can find all of the same things for free.
And how does that work? So if I'm a veteran-owned business and I'm on VIB Network, and you say, you can help me find out this information, or that's one of your goals is to help me find out about this free info. Am I talking to you, or am I talking to Cole, or is the information on the website? Do I search like the little Google thing that exists within the website and find articles and resources, or how does that work?
A little bit of everything. So we have a business resource page. So, and through that, actually, it does say, before you spend any money, check all these resources. These are, these are all the free services. And we explain what each one of them does. PTAC, this is what it stands. And we have little links to each type of resources, SCORE, and, different things. And then also we do a lot of webinars ourselves. And we share a lot of articles, that say, here, you're looking for this, here's some more data and information that you need. And then if somebody needs to get in touch with us and they have more questions, they can always give us a call. So we're always available.
That's awesome. It's always so amazing to me when I meet veterans running nonprofits, because you're committing your time to this additional task that is altruistic in nature and exists to boost others up. Not that there's nothing in it for you, and not that it's sneaky or anything like that by any means, but when you can build a network of people, I think there's nothing more valuable than that. And that's what you've done. So you're part of this network too, which, adds a lot of value to you, but you committing your time and creating this thing in the first place was a major, massive investment without knowing what was going to come of it. And then to go through the process to become a 501c3 and, build this website and then maintain it. And then you're replying to emails and you're doing this show with me. I just want to say thank you for committing your time to the veteran community. So I want to get that out there as soon as possible, that I appreciate what you're doing. I respect it a lot. And it's an amazing thing that you're doing.
Honestly, the best reward is somebody like Jackson. And I'm going to throw a plug your way. If you guys haven't watched I think he's been on 2 episodes, right? So If you haven't watched both of those, go watch Jackson Dalton's story. Great guy, great business owner, but he volunteered with the VIB. He's, I don't know how he initially found us. Rebecca, you might know, but he started coming. He said, how can I be more involved? He volunteered his time. And, again, like you said, there's some altruism there where it's like he wants to give back. We all have that sense of service where we want to give back to our fellow veterans. We want to make sure that we pave the way for future veterans, but also in doing that and through networking at some of our events and with these corporations, he has actually been able to land some decent business. And so that to me is one of the rewards. It's like, hey, put in your time, help other veterans, and hopefully if you stick with it, your business will actually be able to grow because of that. And so to me, that's one of the best rewards for people. We always like to tell veterans, hey, you kind of get in what you put out. We try and make everything except for the conference. We do have to charge money for the conference, but you get, dinners and lunches. There's some food and entertainment involved, but our webinars, everything else, we try and keep that stuff free. And it's, hey, if you're willing to volunteer what you put in, we hope that you get back out of it tenfold. And so for people like Jackson, he's been able to capitalize on that. And I think, as he mentioned in your previous podcast with him, it's worked out for his business. It's been good for his business. And so that to me is the greatest reward for doing this type of stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. It's for me, my main thing is, building relationships along the way, like what you were saying about Jackson. And I'm sure the people that he's talked to, he's built relationships with the people and not just the business. The business is all about the people. And that's what's really fun about something like VIB is you can find the right people because they're all veteran businesses. Really, I have a lot I want to talk about that, but let's say, so I'm a listener out there. I'm a small business. I want to sign up for VIB. Can you kind of walk me through it?
Oh yeah. I mean, sure. Yeah. You can just get on the website, VIBnetwork.org. And so it all depends on what kind of, so if you're a veteran business, there is a, join veteran business. It's a free organization. Just follow and create your own profile. I highly encourage people to really think about their profile, make sure they're putting everything out there. Just don't put your name and what you do. Really do the keywords, the description. It does get utilized a lot by corporations and government agencies, especially with what's going on now. We have had at least 2 corporations a week that have been in touch with me and asking me to go through the directory and find, people that do PPEs, marketing, all variety of different things. So we are doing that for our corporations and government agencies and locating veteran business for them. Then we send them an Excel spreadsheet. So the more information that a veteran can share and put on their profile, the better that we can use to find them, as well as corporations when they're utilizing the VIB directory. And then it just takes probably about, 3 to 5 days to get approval. We are not a certification agency. We're a verification agency. So, or agency, we're a verification. So we verify that if you say you are a service disabled veteran, we check the your SAM account or your CVE account, and we make sure that you are a legitimate service disabled veteran. If you're a California DVBE, so we check all of that before we will let you into the directory.
And then once you're in, what are some of the most common use cases, or any? Do you have any anecdotal examples besides, like, I know we just talked about Jackson, of some other ways that people use the service?
Well, yeah, I mean, so actually, we were saying that a lot of people do connect with each other. If somebody's going into Texas and they're from California, I know that people have emailed, "Hey, I'm a VIB member. I see that you're in as well. Want to grab a drink or meet for coffee? Because they know that they're equally a veteran business owner as well, and maybe they might have some insight. So people do use it for peer to peer networking as well.
And I guess the idea is, oh, go ahead, Cole.
Oh, so just as a personal use, I mean, owning a construction company, we're a general contractor. I love to go through there and look for subcontractors that I might need to use on one of my proposals coming up. So if we're doing a building renovation and there's some painting, I'll go on there and see, hey, is there a painting business? We've got concrete companies, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's ways to find people that you actually need for your own business, as well as, hey, if you're going to spend money, you want to spend with a veteran business, vote with your dollar type of thing. So definitely a lot of uses along those lines. Plus, when you sign up, you get the weekly newsletter. We send out a weekly newsletter that has updates, a lot of the PPP and emergency disaster loan information, stuff like that. So we try and keep the information flow coming, as well as the directory on the website that kind of runs separate too. So,
yeah, I guess the idea would be, if you are on this website, it's because you should be open to getting contacted by other, veteran-owned businesses, or else you wouldn't be on there, right? Like you should, once you're in there, you can probably prepare to get an email or something through your, whatever your business website is. However people reach out to you on social media or something. Hey, I found you on VIB, and I'd like to connect. Is there any etiquette to that that exists in the VIB space, like community guidelines or anything like that?
Well, we just don't want anybody to hard sell somebody like, hey, I'm an insurance guy and you're a VIB member, so you need to use me. We want it to be more of a social, hey, you're a VIB member, I'm a VIB member. Let's set up some, time to chat or something like that. But we've had a little bit of, some people use and abuse, but very little. But mostly everybody just uses it to connect and to find out more about each other's business.
Nice. What are the conferences that you guys do?
They rock.
They look like they do. They look like they do from the website.
Our last conference was in San Diego. So we had about 400 people attend. So it's 2 days of educational workshops and motivational speakers, as well as we do this really cool thing called tactical networking, where we have veterans and corporations and government agencies all get to network with each other and share their 1-minute pitch. And then we have, what else do we have? Oh, we have great receptions and dinners, and it's all heavy networking, education and, exhibitor halls, but everything is all about networking and getting to know, the veteran business owner, getting to know the corporations, getting to know the government agencies there. So we try to create this really fun and exciting conference, so people will have a great time and want to be really engaged and really try to remember people for contracting opportunities. So
Yeah, we try, the typical veteran mentality of work hard, play hard, right? And so we try as a business owner who's gone to a lot of different, networking events. Sometimes you feel like you have your 30-second opportunity. And you go to a 2 or 3 day event and you had this one particular customer you wanted to talk to. You had your 30-second elevator pitch and that as soon as it's over, they don't remember you. And so we have specifically tried to break down that barrier so that people are just constantly networking with one another. Last year, I think it was San Diego Gas and Electric. They actually sponsored a sunrise yoga. And so we had yoga out on the beach in San Diego at like 6 a.m. There were a bunch of corporation folks that came out there. There was a bunch of veteran businesses. I got to tell you, I thought it was a joke when I first heard it. I was like, I don't know if we want to do that for the conference. Some of the best networking happened at that 6 a.m. yoga session and we did it for 2 days in a row. A lot, the people that were there the first day were selling it to the rest of the people at the conference on day 2. And, when you're sitting there doing downward dog or whatever, and you get that 30 seconds to do your elevator pitch, it seems to stick a little bit more than when you're in a room with 200 other people and they're all doing their elevator pitches. And so we try and think outside the box. And I know Rebecca hates that phrase, but we try and really maximize the opportunity for veterans to get their name out, get their business out, and, talk to other, whether it's corporations, government agencies, or even other veteran businesses. And so that's kind of what we try to do at our events.
Yeah, and then Max, the other thing, so we do this really cool thing, the tactical networking. So that's about an hour and a half of continually meeting each other over and over again, and they move from table to table and meet, corporations and government agencies. And then after that, they go out to a cocktail reception. So and last year we had it on the beach. So we had flip-flops and, Latin jazz music and, cocktails and food. So, if you met somebody during that tactical networking, it's kind of that introduction. Then you go and you see them, you have a cocktail with them and say, hey, I'd love to find out more about how we maybe can work together and see what we can do. So you're continually trying to, break the ice and make those help veteran businesses, really make those important connections.
I love the sound of some sunrise yoga. That's like right up my alley. Cause for one, I love the dawn. I love the morning. And my wife and I did some sunrise yoga at our wedding when we had a little destination wedding. And like our wedding day package started with yoga in the morning. And it was just a great way to start the day. If I make it out to one of your conferences and that's going on, I guarantee I'll be out there doing it. And I recommend everybody get out there and, get some exercise in the morning.
It was bigger. It was a bigger success than we had thought. So, and it doubled the next day.
Awesome.
So, it was good. And everybody who participated the first day, like, hey, yoga. So it was fun. It was good.
That's great. And the one coming up this fall, tentatively, in San Francisco. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So we are having it October 12th and 13th. We haven't completely been ready to announce if we're going to have a virtual or if we're going to have in person. But either way, it's going to be an amazing conference. We have been looking at all different kind of options if we do virtual, because we still want to have the business matchmaking portion of it. We still want to have like cocktails and conversation. So we still want to have that engagement. And so we have been looking at some different really cool conference platforms. If we do in person, we have no idea what that's going to look like and how, we're going to be able to create, because ours gets really cozy. Our conference gets really cozy. People get really connected. And so we're trying to figure out if, maybe we'll just go virtual this year and do it again, and then do it in Sacramento next year. So these are all conversations that we're having, but it will definitely happen either in person or, virtually.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. So what you're talking about, tactical networking and that B2B, business to business networking. What are some tips? Like if I'm a business, I really need to know this. I'm asking. What are some tips for, like, I'm a business, I go up and talk to another business. How do you communicate? What are the key things to communicate to build a good relationship?
Well, one of the biggest things that we hear from corporations, government agencies, is that the veteran business owner that is doing the pitch has to have done their research. Like if you are pitching to one of the corporations and they don't buy what you sell, that's the number one turnoff. And you won't only turn them off, but other corporations that are standing next to them will be like, what are you doing? So having the knowledge of, hey, I know you buy what I sell, and this is how I am the best person to sell it to you. And so you really, I think a lot of times we have the machine gun mentality when you go to these type of events, these networking things. You want to get your name to as many people as possible. And I think the tactical tomahawk strike, pick like 2 or 3. Do your research on them and then go hard at those 2 or 3. Because if you hand out 100 business cards and do 100 elevator pitches, you're just a face in the crowd. But if you focus on 2 or 3 where you know exactly what they purchase, how they purchase it, then I think you'll have a lot more success that way.
And also follow-up. Follow-up is the key. All that we do with the VIB and at the conference is create those introductions that people need. And so that when somebody's going to meet somebody, they know what, they look like and they've seen them. It's the follow-up. Hey, I met you at the VIB conference, love to have that opportunity to talk. A lot of these supplier diversity people might be going to tons of events, or even if you're not looking for supplier diversity people, you are looking for B2B. It's always the follow-up, don't feel that somebody who they didn't get back to you right away, always, reach out to them again in a month and say, hey, just checking in, how you doing? Or, hey, if you had a great conversation and found out about, what baseball team they liked, or, that kind of thing. This is hey, saw your team, they lost, sorry about that, but my team won, or whatever. However, you need to continue on with that conversation. I think is really important to continue to try to follow up no matter how. And then they're just going to tell you if they don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yep. So that's so much good stuff there to unpack. For one, I got a good piece of advice from an extremely what's the word? Not established, but success. I'll just use successful business person. Is the only right time to respond to correspondence is immediately. So if you get an email, respond to it immediately. If you get a text, a direct message, whatever it is, Facebook message, the only correct time to respond is immediately. So when you are following up, try to keep. I'm like the guiltiest at doing these things that I'm about to say. I need to get better at them. Handwritten letters. So if you're in a position where you could handwrite a letter to somebody that you met at a conference, that'll go a long way. Or like you were saying, if you find out what sports team they like, some kind of personalized it so that way it's authentic and not a copy paste email. I never do these copy paste emails. A lot of times for this show, I'll do cold calls basically, except like through Instagram or something like, hey, I have this podcast. I like what you're doing. I wonder if we could talk sometime, usually with a good amount of success, but I could do like 1,000 of these copy paste messages, but I never do that. It's always, because I only reach out to people that I really want to talk to. That's kind of that targeted networking that we were talking about doing your research, not the spray and pray tactic, because for one, you aren't going to hit a lot of targets. And even if you hit one, you've also wasted a lot of resources because you wasted a lot of your time to talk to a lot of people to get one person, but that one connection could have been a lot stronger if it was more targeted. One question I have is, do you have any tips? So you go to a conference like the VIB conference and you have 3 people you want to talk to. Your goal is to meet them, talk to them. You have your pitch. What about how do you keep it focused, meaningful, but authentic at the same time?
One thing that we try to tell all veteran businesses is if you're in business, you have to be better, cheaper, faster, right? I think one of your previous guests, Sean Haggerty, the brewer. So I think he added a 4th one, which was to be first. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm a simple sailor, so I'm throwing that one out. I'm sticking to better, cheaper, faster, right? But the other side of that is being able to explain that, right? You can be better, cheaper, faster, but if you can't explain it to the person you're trying to do your pitch to, then it doesn't really matter, right? It's irrelevant. You could have the best product, the cheapest product, et cetera, but if you can't win the sales pitch and differentiate yourself that way, then it doesn't really matter. And so you are your own best advocate. You can also be your own worst enemy if you're not enthusiastic, if you're not passionate, and you're able to say how you are better, cheaper, faster. I hate to keep going back to Jackson, but he's a prime example of somebody.
He's great. Jackson's great.
Yeah, and honestly, from our organization, we've kind of seen the evolution of his business from, the first year down here until now, where he's got his 5 employees doing a lot of great things, not only great for his business, but great for society during this whole COVID pandemic. And so, I think his first year, he just showed up, kind of did the standard small business thing. By his second year, he had a booth set up. And I think this last year, not only did he have like an actual expo booth, but he does safety gear. And so he had one of his fall protection rigs all set up with the crane and everything. You could not walk through the expo hall without seeing his booth. I mean, it was probably a borderline fire hazard. It was sticking out so far. But that's the thing, though. And so he's got all of his logos, all of his marketing. And so instantaneously, when you see his booth, it sticks out in your mind. Then after you talk to him and you know how he is, better, cheaper, faster, it's easy for him when he follows up, he's already sticking out in their mind. The other thing would be, we do this a lot as the VIB. We go to the corporation's booths and we get a picture with them and we immediately tag them on social media and post that picture. That way they can kind of look back and say, yeah, I was there with that veteran organization. That was a good time. So business owners can do that same thing. And so however you can not only be better, cheaper, and faster, but how you explain it, how you stick out from the crowd, and that comes in a lot of different forms, a lot of different ways that you can do that depending on your industry. But being able to describe it or to visually represent that is very, very important to standing out from the crowd.
And then Max, I also want to say, don't forget to ask questions. You're not just selling a product, get to know you want to build relationships. So you really ask the questions, find out about them, how was their flight coming in? Where did they come from? How many events they've been doing? If you really want to make a impact, get engaged in the person that you're talking to, find out more and they'll tell you more as well. So I always feel, sometimes, talk less, listen more.
I love that. That's what I try to do here on the show. If I'm doing a good job, I should be talking the least. It's also a good tip I heard from someone about when you're in a job interview is to ask questions. Don't just sit there and answer questions. You should ask questions too, because it shows the person interviewing you that you're interested or have taken interest and have some things that you were curious about or aren't just there as a yes person the whole way through. So asking questions is a huge one. I definitely encourage people to do that. Another thing is not only these are all things that apply anywhere you meet somebody. Like you might meet, the reason it's like why they call it an elevator pitch, right? Because you find yourself in the elevator with the person you've been trying to talk to your whole life. Are you prepared between floors 1 and 8 to sell yourself? so you might be at Starbucks, or you might be at the gym or something, and you meet the person who you've been trying to see your whole life, and there you go. Are you prepared? Have you rehearsed it? Have you done your research? I say this, Cole, you might have heard this. I say this on the show all the time, which is luck exists, but it's only a combination of opportunity and preparation. So have you done the preparation so when opportunity presents itself, you're ready? That would be good luck. Bad luck is when opportunity exists and preparation hasn't been done, or vice versa. That's just bad luck. So those are really awesome tips. Are you guys on social media?
Oh yeah, we're all over social media.
And what's the rundown on your socials?
So Cole,
I just did karate hands. I don't know why. Let me get the rundown on the social medias, and I'm like karate chopping at my desk.
So we have over 15,000 followers on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
And and then we have, we do everything. So we have LinkedIn, which we're very hot with that. Then we do Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have a YouTube channel as well. And then we have a weekly newsletter blast that goes out. So once you get connected with us, you start seeing us everywhere. And so we are very heavily into our social media.
What's the, I'm going to do that. This is my hashtag symbol.
Hashtag VIB Network.
Nice. And you can be found on there on wherever people are looking for you at VIB Network.
Yes, hashtag VIB Network or at VIB Network. And we have our logo on everything so they can easily find us. And we always tell people, that, feel free to link us. If there's something if you're a veteran business and you want a contract, we want to know about it, whether it was through us or not. We love to share the success stories. And I think that more veteran businesses should hear those success stories about, you winning a contract, because there's so many people you're like, does this really work? Does my certification do anything for me? So when you share those, stories of success and how your certification helped you, it motivates somebody else to go, all right, if they can do it, I could do it. All right.
I think I agree 100%. Or it gives somebody an idea that they've never had before. I think it's important to share those ideas too. Like Instagram and I don't know about Twitter. Instagram, LinkedIn are great places to kind of borrow ideas from. I had a guest on the show named Casey. She's an Air Force veteran. She's an artist, and she said she got on LinkedIn and she was like, "There's no artists on LinkedIn." Oh wait, there's no artists on LinkedIn. I could be the artist on LinkedIn, and she gets more attention through LinkedIn than any other social. And so I want to, so Rebecca, you brought up LinkedIn. How, and I'm always trying to impress this upon listeners who reach out to me about, social media. How important is LinkedIn? How real is LinkedIn as far as a resource, and when and how should people start using it?
So for the VIB, we have tons of different pages. So we have for the VIB, we use it to share information about the organization and, connect people and link people to different events that are happening and anything that has to do with business. That's what we do. We like to share all that information. If it's so that's how we use it for the VIB. For Rebecca, my own page, then I share information regarding, Diego and Son. People are always afraid to share things about their work. I think is a great medium. I love social media. And in the printing business, I would always take pictures of jobs, projects that we do. And then I would say, fresh off the press, here's and share that project, link it to the customer. They would love it. So, if we could do that, anybody in construction, like Cole could say, hey, I just finished this project. People like to see, I believe people like to see people doing actual work. And it seems like there's more than just, them taking a selfie of themselves. Show me what you're doing. Show me some projects, that's how we utilize the social media.
Yeah, we just, what was it, 2 months ago, I believe, February? I don't know. With all this COVID, all the time just seems to blur together. But
Yeah.
we did a webinar with a guy that is like a LinkedIn expert. And so he kind of referred to it as the digital handshake, you know.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, and again, you know, I'm the biggest offender of what I'm about to say. Do as I say, not as I do. I'm horrible at social media, but as you go through the process to really, and using LinkedIn as the example, if you really set up a good, solid LinkedIn profile, doing that exercise helps you refine your own elevator pitch, right? Because it's a way to kind of formalize it, outline, you know, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Where's my experience? Who are my other connections? And so by going through the process, and again, this is coming from a guy that hates social media. I think in my LinkedIn picture, I still had hair. But going through going through the practice of setting up a LinkedIn profile, and not just your standard, hey, here I am, but, you know, setting it up, actually thinking about what your strengths are and all that. That helps you during your sales pitch. That helps you as you start to build that refined elevator pitch. And so, you know, even if you don't like social media, going through the exercise is definitely a valid thing to do to help you, you know, work out those business owner muscles in terms of how you market yourself and how you describe what your business does. How are you, quote unquote, better, cheaper, and faster? And so it's definitely a valid exercise, even if you don't utilize it on the pure marketing sense that Rebecca was talking about.
And what I always tell everybody, just do it. I know it seems daunting, but just do it, you know. And you know, once you start doing it and say, okay, I'm going to do it once a week, you know, and then you're like, okay, twice a week, but just do it, and then it won't seem so ridiculous. And even if you're just sharing an article that you read, that's something that's involved. And I always say, you know, the social media is social. So therefore, like something that somebody else is doing, comment on something that somebody else is doing, and don't just be a stalker and look at other people's stuff. You know, get engaged with them as well.
It's tough for me. For me, I think I've had other people share this same feeling with me as a veteran. With what I did in the military, I feel like I'm doing something bad when I post a lot of stuff on social media. Except I do this podcast now, and I want to get it out there to as many people as possible. So I want to be as available on social media as possible. I'm always working to get better at it. I still struggle with it. Like Cole, what you were saying, it's tricky. I do try to post. I set up a to-do list app on my phone, and on it is make a tweet, make a LinkedIn post, make a Facebook post, make an Instagram post, and that's every day. So I try to do something every day, and I get to check off my to-do list, and that's a good feeling, you know. Get to go on there and get like an achievement. Hey, you achieved 4 to-do lists this week so far, which is awesome. It definitely helps having a little app on my phone with a to-do list. Helps. I might make a video about the app that I'm using actually. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I definitely, I recommend if you're out there and you're not doing to-do lists, I recommend to do it. So put that on the list to get a to-do list. And then also like the vision board type thing where it's kind of writing down your goals. And you know what LinkedIn is good for? It is good as and my Navy veterans will get this and I'll explain it. It's a brag sheet too, because LinkedIn can be your resume with a chronological history of what you've done, where you were, and then people can see kind of what your experience is. And I get hit up on LinkedIn. I would say often. It's not like every day, but it's often. You know, to me, I'm surprised at how often I do get hit up for what I have on there about what I did in the Navy. People will say, "Hey, we have a job that we could, you know, potentially get you in there for." So if you're doing your keywords right in LinkedIn on your resume. Or work history section, then you'll pop up on somebody's radar on LinkedIn and you might get a job offer.
I know somebody who actually did get a job offer with Microsoft.
Whoa, LinkedIn. Nice.
So, yeah, develop phones. So people are actually people are utilizing LinkedIn. So
Yeah. There's LinkedIn. You can be a job seeker, you can be an employer on LinkedIn, and then you can find people. Who does actually, speaking of Microsoft, that reminds me of a question I wanted to ask. Who runs your back end of your website? Do you guys do that?
what do you mean?
Like who does the actual website, like programming and layout and updating with articles and making sure that the website works and doesn't crash?
It's a little cross between myself and then we have some people that who we hire out as well, who've
Okay.
done the website as well, and they're actually volunteers with the organization as
Oh,
well.
awesome. Because I know something I've heard people struggle with, definitely me, is when you do go make a website, you figure out, well, what do I want to use? Squarespace or WordPress? That's where a lot of people start, unless they have a full custom one, which is a whole crazy thing. And then it's a deep rabbit hole to get into. So how did you guys start the website?
We abused a bunch of volunteers. That's pretty much. We
nice.
called when we started the organization, we called in every favor we could think of. Literally, we started with zero money and a grandiose idea. And so luckily, the veteran business community, I mean, the one that does a lot of our web stuff, she's the spouse of a guy that's still active duty Navy. And so, I mean, she does a lot of things, but yeah, literally as a nonprofit with zero funds and a hope and a dream, it was a lot of calling in every last favor we could until we got up and going. But we knew, part of the reason we started was we wanted to take that step and get a decent website that could support things like a directory and other things like that. And so a lot of favors had to go into it. But like you mentioned, when you meet another veteran business owner, they're not always your competition, right? We can be competitors if we're competing on one particular project, but the rest of the week, we're just veterans, business owners trying to make it in this world. And so there is a lot of camaraderie, a lot of help. I mean, the person developing our app right now is he a Marine Corps veteran? I want to say he was a Marine.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he's a Marine.
That's awesome.
So yeah, no, we knew that we didn't have an office, so we knew how important a good website was, a user-friendly website. So, we had to and like Cole said, I mean, just like starting a business, it was a nonprofit. We were absolutely crazy. And, we called in a lot of favors and a lot of people and sold our idea and said, this is what we think, this is what we want to do. And, we have no money. Can you give it to us? And then when we do, we'll pay you. But right now we don't. So it was thankfully we had a fantastic amount of people who supported us and believed what we were doing.
Lately there's been this trend thing that I've been talking about, which is, it started with talking to a guy who did a production of a TV show that's on Vet TV now called Mandatory Fun. And Vet TV is like a streaming service for all veteran themed TV shows. And he did a stand-up comedy special. He had all these comedians on. He, quote unquote, bootstrapped it. He set it up in the back of a restaurant in San Diego to have a stand-up comedy night. Had these people come out. He filmed it. He edited it. He got it on Vet TV. And it's been very successful, and it was very funny. Everyone did great. And I keep saying everyone's going to want to be on season 2. But the people who were really there to support you came out for season 1, not knowing what it was going to be, believing in your dream, believing in what you said you were going to do, believing in you that you could accomplish it. You put in the work, and now you have this core group of people who supported from the beginning, who have the real good intentions, their heart's in the right place. They believe in the mission. They believed enough in what you said you were going to do that they would give you their time, which is really encouraging for, what your idea was. And it sounded like you had a good group of people at the beginning as well.
We did.
It's literally how I would, when you're wearing the uniform, it's like on Memorial Day that's coming up here, the 4th of July, when you're wearing your uniform and people say thank you for your service, and you get that awkward feeling like, I'm still here. I haven't sacrificed like other people have sacrificed. It gives you that weird feeling as a veteran that is a little discomforting. But now that I'm out, I'm no longer wearing the uniform, but still have a lot of people, friends, close friends that I was in the Navy with that are still out on deployments and all that. I mean, when I think of patriotism, it's not just having the, flag, bumper sticker and things like that. The people that helped us are true patriots. They were like, we understand what you're trying to do. We understand you don't want to, charge veterans, and it's not going to be some sort of subscription or membership. You just want to provide as much resources and education to veteran business owners as you can. We're willing to put in our time and effort. And literally, it's one of those things that it kind of shapes, wow, this is what patriotism is about. When people say support our troops and support our veterans, they're putting their money and their time where their mouth is. So literally, it was a very humbling experience as we got started, and people started coming out to help us. And, then the momentum builds. And again, I'm going to go back to Jackson just because we've kind of watched his evolution, but people like that start volunteering, and their businesses grow, and our organization continues to grow. And so, that saying, what is it? I've got 3 kids. I should know. It takes a village to raise a child. When it comes to owning a business, your business kind of becomes your child. And it does, and it's the same with VIB as well as our own businesses. Rebecca's printing company, my construction business. It takes a village to raise that business and to help it grow. And that includes your family members, your spouse, your friends. We called a lot of favors in from friends and family, as well as other people. I mean, you're part of the veteran business, village that is helping raise these veteran businesses, just doing this type of show and supporting and highlighting and spotlighting veteran business owners that are doing good stuff out there. And so literally, it's very humbling to see what people are willing to do to support veterans and, active duty and spouses. So really great stuff that's happening out there. And hopefully we get the opportunity in the years to come to continue to highlight that. So,
yeah, I'm inspired by, what you guys do, what so many people that I've met do, because my message is that it's really important. This is not my something I've written down. This is, I kind of describe this a different way every time. I should come up with something and have it posted so everyone understands one, and maybe I'll understand better too. But I think it's really important to maintain your link to the military, because it's such a big part of our lives, and it's a big part of the lives of the family members of military too. Rebecca, as obviously you can attest to. And it kind of is part of your life that stays with you forever. The things you did in the military, no matter how long you were in, how brief, they kind of in many ways define who you are as a person going forward, but they can't be the only thing you've ever done. So when you get out of the military, you have this whole life to live. Excuse me. You have this whole life to live afterwards. How do you succeed in life after you get out of the military while not losing touch with what you did in the military, and not using it as a crutch, but using it as something to propel you forward and maintain the relationships with those you've served with and those you meet in the future, because you have that instant connection that you both were in, served at some point, and you speak the same language. You can start having conversation straight away, but not making that the last great thing you ever do in your life. And so people like you running VIB, you help make sure that it's not the last great thing that people do in their lives, that when they have an idea and take it from, in their head to something in the world, that they have a leg up by building a network. And what you have is a directory. We were talking about this before we started the show, that I've always been searching for a directory of veteran-owned businesses, and based on where they are and what they're doing, because when I would travel, I would go try to find veteran-owned businesses. I would just Google veteran-owned businesses in blank city, and maybe I'll get some results, maybe not. But there was never that I found a one place that was not a government affiliated thing, like a list of for example, what I mean by government affiliated was like a list of SDVOSB, service disabled veteran-owned small businesses with like their business numbers or whatever, but like an actual private and you guys are a nonprofit where people can go and register their business with the, idea in their head that they could meet and network with other business owners, which is awesome.
Yeah, we have a lot of different businesses. Like one of the guys that came this year, Alma Coffee, veteran Army guy, amazing coffee. And so this was probably, I think our event was one of the first veteran conferences that he's gone to. But I know that other veterans have used him and found him on the VIB as well. So I mean, it's an array of businesses that are there, not just services, but I think we have an ice cream guy and so clothes and jewelry. So it's not just one thing. It's a lot of variety of different businesses that are available.
Cole, your business is, you're not only and I guess Rebecca, maybe yours too. You're not just the founders and you run VIB, but you exist within it as well. So you use it as part of your business as well?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And how
for me, I'm a little bit different. I do only federal work. And so generally speaking nowadays, in terms of construction, it's mostly just lowest cost. When the federal government spends their money on construction, it's lowest cost. And so not as much in terms of like networking, but I mean, like I said, I will use subcontractors that are veteran-owned businesses, or any sort of services that I can use within my business in pursuit of my contracts. Definitely something I try to do.
So if people are looking for you, they can find. So I guess what I'm getting at is, if people are looking to reach out to you, what's the best way? Is it through the website? Is it through social media? Through LinkedIn? How would people reach out and kind of talk to you guys?
If they want to reach out to us directly, I think my email is on literally almost every page. I think on the website, it's Rebecca@VIBnetwork.org, and so they can get in touch with me any time, and they can call us. I think we're pretty open to discussing things and always engaging, and we say a lot yes to a lot of things, obviously. So I always want want the organization to continue to showcase and show what we're doing, and spread the message of that we exist and we're a free organization and we're here to help the veteran business community.
Love that. And Cole,
and honestly, one of our best resources is the veteran business owners. I mean, we only see what we can see, right? But there's a million of us out there as veteran business owners. And so if you're out there and you have a particular issue that seems to be an obstacle, let us know. That's how we can try and come up with a solution to it. Is first, you got to identify the problem before you can start solving it. And so when things come up, right now with this COVID and all of this craziness, we're hearing from veteran business owners, what are their concerns? How are they going to get through this? Things like that. But it's one of those things, as I mentioned earlier, you get in what you put out. So if you just go to the website and look around and maybe you find some other people, great. If that's all you want to put in and that's all you want to take out, that's fine. But if you want to get involved, if you have an initiative that you think could help veteran business owners, legislation or programs that we need to be aware of, or, hey, there's another veteran organization and this is what we're doing, we're more than happy to partner with them or help market their events, things like that. But again, you can't assume that we're omnipotent. We need the inputs. We need the notifications from everybody. Yes, we're on all the social media, but if you reach out to us directly, then we can get our eyes on it and hopefully, again, help the veteran business owners. It's all about treading water and learning how to swim. So,
yeah. And we really do have a VIB community out there too. I mean, there is, I see on my LinkedIn, I see like somebody from the VIB conference that I didn't even know they knew each other, and they went to the Army-Navy game. And I'm like, what the heck is Ty and Ollie doing together? So it's great to see, people, they meet at the VIB, and then that's just their, they feel that this is their organization, and then they continue to grow and connect with other veterans and share our organization with other veterans as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's the definition of community. You've built a community that it kind of exists, and the community grows the community. That's the goal, right? Is like you get everyone. It's like having a community full of small businesses, So you have which is literally what VIB is. But I mean, if you could imagine it in a physical place, you've got everyone around kind of circularly supporting each other. They all build each other up. Like the construction company goes to work every day, but they stop at the coffee shop before they go to work, and then they need to go to the accountant, see the accountant help with their taxes, and the circle goes on and on and on. And everyone is boosting each other up, which I love. It's amazing. I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to leverage it more and hopefully meet some really, really cool people and get more people on the show through it. Find some good businesses out there. I'd love to talk to somebody who's making ice cream. That sounds really, really cool. So I'm definitely going to be on there more. Hey, really quick, ask you guys, is there anything, we've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes. Is there anything that we haven't gotten to that you guys do want to get to, or I'll probably start thinking about closing thoughts?
One thing we were talking about, if you're at a big event, right, and what you can do, and you should target some people. One thing that I kind of thought of after we talked about that was a lot of small businesses, when somebody asks, what do you do? They have this, there's a tendency to say, I do everything. Right? They want to, Rebecca and I call it the puffer fish, right? You want to look bigger than you are. If you're a one man or one woman shop and you do a particular thing, don't pretend that you do everything, because the corporations, the government agencies, when they're looking to write those contracts, they can see right through that. And so that's one thing, a tip that I think a lot of small business owners could utilize, especially veterans, because veterans have this no lose mentality, right? It's mission accomplishment. No matter what, I will not fail. I can do whatever you throw at me. And as a business owner, you got to kind of throttle that back a little bit and say, this is the 2 or 3 things that I can do, and I do those things amazingly well, better, cheaper, faster, and that's it. I'm willing to partner with other people to expand my capabilities or my capacity, but this is a legitimate, understanding of what I do. Do not play the puffer fish. If somebody asks if you can do A through Z and you say yes, everybody knows you're lying. And so unless you really can, and if you can, then, mazel tov. But if you can't communicate exactly what it is you do well, that's a skill you really have to harness and work on and refine. And do not play the puffer fish, because everybody can see it. And so that would be one little save round I have from our previous line on that question. So
well, and Cole said he spoke one time, and I always thought this was a great thing. And Cole said, smile. Whenever you're going to an event, smile, because he actually said, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that, goes, hey, I want a contract, is, all grouchy. Smile, and I always remember that was, see, Cole, I gave you some credit there.
There's also that reputation of the angry veteran. And if you've been to enough veteran business type events, you can learn to spot that person from across the room. The angry veteran. I've been coming to these things for 10 years and I've never won a contract. Don't be that guy. Be the positive. Here's what I do, and here's why I'm the best at it. And the opportunities, the doors will open for you. So
awesome. Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's like the old, I don't know what you would call it, a stereotype, an adage, whatever. But the loudest person in the room is often trying to cover something up. So. It's usually the quiet ones you got to look out for. It's the quiet ones who are usually the more confident, maybe more established people that you want to talk to, you know, because they're listening, and listening is a lot of times a lot more important than talking.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, if people are listening, you want to make sure that you're focused, that you have a goal in mind, because nobody wants to have their time wasted. That's what I've noticed at these networking events. You were talking about it earlier about doing your research. But if you start talking to somebody and they're like, this has nothing to do with me, this is not me, you're talking to the wrong guy. I'm here to, remember, everyone's there to talk to people at networking events. So you don't want to take up too much of someone's time. You don't want to waste any of their time. So if people start to go, I don't think that I'm the guy you think I am, or I don't know if you know who you're talking to, then not only are you going to lose time, you're going to lose that contact, and then word might spread that you have not prepared properly for this event. So that's one thing that I've learned from going to networking events, and it sounds like you're echoing that and driving that home for sure.
Yeah, especially at a VIB event, because like Rebecca said, we like to get cozy. It's a very work hard, play hard atmosphere. And so if you make your reputation known as one of those guys or gals at the beginning, by the end of it, everybody will know who you are, and that may not be a good thing. And so definitely stay positive, you know, learn how to pick up on the social cues. And at the end of the day, I mean, as long as you know how to communicate how you are better, cheaper, or faster, you will find the opportunities, and you will connect with the people that you should be connecting with. So
it's kind of like talking over the radio in the military, you know, clear, concise, don't key up unless you have something to say. Don't talk over anybody. It's like, I always seem to, you know, find that the things we learn in the military already cover us in business and in our lives afterwards. You just have to remember what you learned in the military. You know, half of it you learn in boot camp, and then people don't even realize that.
Oh yeah. Think, key, speak, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy how many of those little military adages I quote to my people all the time.
Yep. 100%. Rebecca Cole, it's been really fun to talk with you today. I would love to do this again, maybe as we get into the summer and the app comes out, which is going to be in the next couple months. And then as we get ready to go into your conference, I would love to link up again and do another episode and talk about how all that's going. What do you guys think?
Sounds great.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Do you guys have anything that you want to add as we kind of get ready to wrap up here? Any other saved rounds?
I just want to make sure that everybody, you know, will join the directory. It's free. You know, I know that some people think that there's like you know, we're selling stuff on the back end or something like that, but no, it is just a you know, directory to help you get connected with each other and corporations and government agencies. There's no shifty stuff on our end. So we really just want people to connect and really get those opportunities that are available. You can't win if you're not playing the game. So
boom.
Yeah, I would say we're just definitely stronger as a veteran business community. We're stronger together than apart. I mean, nobody goes and fights the war by themselves, right? And at the end of the day, being in business is like being in war. There's casualties, and I'm not making light of any sort, you know, anything along those lines. But I mean, it's sink or swim, and definitely you want to have your swim buddy with you. And that's what we try to provide, just a place for veteran business owners to share their wins, share their losses, share their lessons learned. And we look forward to hopefully having a lot more people join our group and help us all. I mean, we're all just trying to put a roof over our head and food on the table. And so hopefully as a group of veterans, we can do that.
Awesome. I think we can. I know we can. We're growing the community every day over here at the ScuttleButt Show. We grew it today. With Rebecca and Cole on their first appearance on the ScuttleButt Show, and I guess we could call this Jackson's third appearance almost, because when
does he get the jacket?
Yeah, that's the five time jacket. So you're both wearing branded shirts. Do you guys sell any merch?
At the conference, but we will be doing it on our website soon.
Okay, cool. I'll have to get some merch. And then shout out to VIBnetwork.org and all your social media at VIB Network, hashtag VIB Network. You can be found on there. You're easy to get a hold of. You're everywhere online, posting on social media. Everyone, make sure you're doing your social media posts, okay? Everyone out there, I'm pointing at the camera. Make sure you're doing your social media posts. I'm trying to get better myself. It was seriously, thank you for coming on. I'm glad that we connected. We will talk more for sure. This has been a really fun episode, a lot of really good stuff. And I hope, everyone out there, go to VIBnetwork.org and sign up if you have a business. There's no reason not to, right? There's no downside. You're not going to get sold on anything. None of your information is going to get sold. It doesn't cost you any money. All it does is promote your business and grow your community.
Yeah.
All about the networking.
All about the networking. Hell yeah. That's 100% what it's all about. I always say, what I just told somebody, a young guy who wants to get into filmmaking that I worked with in San Diego said, do you have any tips to get into this? I said, a tip for life in general, whatever you want to do, find out where the people are that are doing the things you want to do and just go there. Just get there somehow. Because it's not about how much you can do in your house, studying, preparing, going out and doing things by yourself. You can write a bunch of emails, you can apply to a bunch of jobs, send out a bunch of resumes. But if you can just get where people are any which way that you can get into it and just actually meet people, that's your fastest way to success and the fastest way that people get to know you, and you can prove yourself and show people what you got. But you have to figure out where people are and get there. And VIB Network is where veteran-owned businesses are.